I'm going to show you how you can start uncovering what comfort eating might be all about for you. We're going to start looking at what the emotion might be behind your eating. Hi, I'm Shelley Treacher from Underground Confidence. I help people to cope with emotion and being human. Comfort eating recovery is something I work with every day, so I'm producing videos here to help you with that. Often people who comfort eat do so in response to something they don't want to feel or don't know how to cope with. Food is an incredibly good down regulator. It also helps us to feel something easier than stress or emotional pain. Sometimes this is an in-the-moment response, like if you feel rejected at home or criticised at work, and sometimes it's become a habitual response to something emotional that happened a long time ago. Today I'm going to share with you some questions that will help you start to answer what binge eating, comfort eating, overeating, sugar addiction are for you. The first thing to start asking is, what is the discomfort behind your comfort eating? It can be something really obvious. So, like I mentioned, if your boss keeps telling you what you're doing wrong, you might feel criticised, unappreciated, and demotivated. If you don't know what to do with those feelings, for example, if you don't like confrontation, which most of us don't, you might find yourself eating a whole packet of biscuits or more. But it can also be something more subtle, like in isolation, when you're bored. You might have found yourself going to the fridge all the time in lockdown because you felt like you had nothing better to do. My experience, though, is that boredom is a little bit deeper than just being bored. There's something more going on for most of us that hides a whole range of different feelings that are hard to admit or to know what to do with. In lockdown, most of us were traumatised. We had a lot to endure, massive changes, felt isolated, stuck with the same people, and we lost a lot. It's still a hell of an adjustment, I believe. So there are many different things or feelings that could lie behind lockdown overeating. In this British stiff upper lip culture, as with many cultures, we are not particularly good at knowing what to do with our feelings. So we eat or we rely on something outside of ourselves to make us feel better. My aim here is to get you used to starting to think about what you're actually doing and why, because this is the key to change. So here are some questions you can start to ask to help you understand what's going on for you. Firstly, when is it that you habitually overeat? Are there some patterns you can start to identify? Is it late at night? Is it when you finish work? Or is it when you're alone? Or is it when you're bored, like I just mentioned? Or when you're stressed? When you're tired? Or is it when you visit a certain relative or perform a certain task? When is it that you habitually binge or overeat? Spend some time on this one. You might want to pause here. Secondly, think of a recent time when you ate more than you wanted to. What was happening just before? What were you thinking? How were you feeling? What was happening? Were you thinking thoughts like this? I don't care. I don't like myself anyway. I'll be fat anyway. I might as well eat this now because I've got the food. I've got to finish it, and then maybe I won't eat anymore. I'll start a diet tomorrow. Or were you trying to treat yourself? Give yourself some kind of reward for a difficult day. Did you have this thought? I deserve this. Or I'm happy, so I want to do what I like. Surely that is treating myself well. Or were you thinking, this will make me happy? Again, spend some time on these questions. You might again want to pause just here. Just work out bit by bit what happened for you, what you notice. And then finally, what would happen if you didn't go to the fridge all day or the snack cupboard? What kind of feelings would you be left with? The answer I usually get to this is that you'd have a really raging desire to eat that just would keep coming back. That's the most common thing that I hear. But I want you to start asking, so what? What's the worst thing that could happen to you? What do you think is the worst thing that would happen? This is where you really start to understand that it's discomfort that causes you to eat. So now that you've answered these questions, can you see that it's possible your eating might be in response to some emotion? What I'm asking you to do is to start understanding what your discomfort is, how far back it goes maybe, and then find other ways to manage that discomfort, which is actually what I'm here for and I'll be doing in the other videos. To be able to stop overeating, you need to understand what's going on for you first. You then need to find a place of compassion for it. In the next video, I'll be talking about your self-critic, because that's the biggest reason I see for people comfort eating. A place of self-hatred is not going to help you give up comfort eating. You need to understand first. Being genuinely self-respectful and with education on how to manage feelings, it is possible to choose not to overeat. And that's how I see this stuff work. And what I'll be talking more about in the episodes to come. I'm Shelley Treacher from Underground Confidence. Please follow or subscribe for help taking back the control. Thank you. See you next week.